Greetings, fellow Ambazonians and televiewers, and everybody who is watching me on social media. I bring you people revolutionary greetings. Today is the 12th day of this month of February 2024. My name is Capo Daniel. I am the chairman of the Ambazonian People's Right Advocative Platform. We have already celebrated the Plebiscite Day by declaring a ghost town to reject the Cameroon government attempt to use this day to mock us, as we have said it. I'm going to bring to you video footages, exclusively video footages that are coming from all over our territory to let you be updated to what is happening. A lot of people have reached out to demand why we did not put a podcast yesterday on 11 February. It was because we were busy monitoring events on the ground and also engaged in other serious matters which we are doing for our struggle. As you know very well, this organization is preparing a comprehensive offer called the Peace Plan paper, which is going to be unveiled eventually. So stay tuned and we will take you into ground zero. And but before we bring you the video footages, we want to first of all express our sympathy to all our people in Cambe and all the Wimbum people who have experienced a very traumatic attack in the grandstand where a bomb was placed and it targeted mainly our civilians. A lot of people were wounded. We have heard of 2 people who have died in the hospital. The images are just horrible. They're just very, very horrible. So we'll bring that later on and we'll get to that later on. We also have very good news of our people completely following our guidelines to stay at home and send a very powerful message that we have rejected the system that have been imposed upon us. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll get to all of that later on. And we have seen video footages from the church and many things. But this program today is very important. We are going to be as brief as possible to present to you some important facts. As you know, we are pushing for this new alternative solution of devolution. That means that we have to be very factual and very truthful and very honest with our people. Last week, we put out a video and audio in the podcast where we talk about our narrative in this struggle, which is that 11 February was a day changed from a plebiscite day by La République du Cameroon into a youth day that make mockery of our history. But I'm going to present to you the facts and the truth, because when you are angry, you say certain things sometimes out of anger, and sometimes you sin when you are angry. But for us to win this war, we will conform to the African Union Charter and international law, because independence or whatever we may get will be something that will require the international community to support us. So in line with our goal to push for freedom for our people and end this war, we are going to be factual with you and align ourselves with international law so that we can better serve our people to push for their right, the right of self-determination. So I want to start with 11 February. What is 11 February all about? And this is very important because for many people, this may be the first time you have heard about this, but we are going to put it to you anyway. What is 11 February? What did Cameroon change the Plebiscite Day to a Youth Day? This is a very important question that we must answer to our people because we have had that narrative push down our throat for 7 years. I'm going to tell you the truth and what it means for our struggle going forward. 11 February, as you know very well, was the Plebiscite Day. It is very important in our history. It is a day that the Southern Cameroon, which was a quasi-region in Nigeria. A quasi-region means that the Nigerian government granted us autonomy that was under the British. So the British government, in effect, granted us autonomy and self-governance. It gave us a unique opportunity under the leadership of the Prime Minister Ndele to build a very solid democracy and strong institutions that prepare us eventually for independence. So that 11 February was the day where the United Nations organized a plebiscite for our people to express their opinion whether they want to join Nigeria or they want to join Cameroon. This is the root cause of this problem, because during that time our people were told that it was just an opinion and they were going to go through several procedures in order for them to secure a contract with Cameroon as a union. Unfortunately, that never happened. They were deceived, and right now we know what happened because we have the ability to look in hindsight and to study what has happened. Recently, the British government released a document to Barrister Mukwele, who appealed in the British court about this case, about the British government obligation to our territory. And in that document, they clearly stated that Southern Cameroon have been integrated into La République du Cameroon, which is not what we were told, which is not what Cameroon promised in the United Nations. These are all injustices that we have suffered. Can this injustice be sued in court? Yes. Are there legal remedy for such injustice? Unfortunately, legally speaking, there are very few remedies because the British government have been sued for a similar case before, and the only thing they did was to apologize to those people because they have discretion in managing the territories that they were trusted to manage. But I'm here to give you the fact of what happened on 11 February. 11 February was a plebiscite day. It took place in 1960, where our people voted to join French Cameroon against Nigeria. The vast majority of our people voted to join French Cameroon, and indeed they went to Fumban to have a union. Unfortunately, everything we put on the table was rejected. Nevertheless, our government, led by Jongu Foncha, continued the union with Cameroon through the constitution that was imposed on us, passed by the Cameroon Parliament. We had a very poor fight by our diplomats to secure a better deal for us. Everything that was rejected, they never put up a good fight. One, because they were very weak. Two, when the British people were leaving Southern Cameroon in Tico Airport, they turned to Amadou Ahidjo to hand him the instrument of our sovereignty, not to Jongu Foncha. So we know that we did not have the support of the British government, and our administration was very young. Jongu Foncha had been campaigning for us to join French Cameroon, and he just wanted us to join without any safeguards, and we are suffering the consequences of that particular decision. So I want our people to know, before 11 February became what we call today Youth Day, what really happened? I'm going to give you the facts. Under the Kwasi region, under autonomy, where the Nigerian constitution granted a special status of autonomy to Ambazonia, during that period, we had self-governance. Endele, as the prime minister and head of government, with our parliament, had 4 national days that we were celebrating. There were 4 national days. 2 of them were youth days. That means days that were celebrated mainly by the youth. They were not national guards. That means they will not come with the army head and sing the anthem, pay allegiance to the flag like you see Cameroon is doing on 20th May. There will be no national guard. It will just be an event of the youth that was championed mainly by the Girls Guide, the Brownies, and the Boy Scout and students. And those events were 2 of them. They were not national events. They were done mainly in Kumba, Victoria, and Bamenda. So you had 2 dates. One is the 22nd of February, which was called Thinking Day. The Thinking Day celebrates freedom of speech and encourages people to think critically for themselves, which is very fantastic and set us up for good days. So we had 2 days that were celebrated that were Youth Day. One was on the 22nd of February, and the second one was Commonwealth Youth Sunday. So on Sunday, they had the Commonwealth Youth Day. Those 2 days were celebrated before we even had the plebiscite, and they were celebrated, set up by Endele's government together with our parliament. It was very, very good celebration for the youth. We had 2 national days. One was not set up by Southern Cameroon, it was set up by the British government. which was the Empire Day. The Empire Day was celebrated from 1949 to celebrate the British conquer of our territory and put under His Majesty the Queen of England. After we had that quasi region, we became a quasi region in Nigeria. That means we were given autonomy. We were now celebrating that day which the Constitution of Nigeria gave us that status, which was on the 26th of October. So on the 26th of October, Endele set up this day from 1954. So we had 4 days that we were celebrating. The 2 days that were National Day was the Empire Day, the National Day, which was celebrated from 1954. 1954 is when we became autonomy, when we were given autonomy by the Constitution of Nigeria. So that 1954, Endele put that day that they were celebrating Southern Cameroon Day or National Day. So totally we had 4 days that were being celebrated. I'm going to tell you how this fit into 11 February. We had the Thinking Day, which was celebrated 22nd of February. We have the Commonwealth Youth Sunday, that was also celebrated around that same period. For National Day, we had the Empire Day, and then we had the Southern Cameroon Day, which was on the 26th of October, not 1st of October. So what happened was that after Southern Cameroon got independence by joining, the day was changed 1 day after. That means 1 year after. In 1961, we still celebrated the 4 holidays. We celebrated the Thinking Day, the Youth Day, the Commonwealth Youth Day, and then we also celebrate the Empire Day. We didn't celebrate the Empire Day, but we celebrated the National Day or the Southern Cameroon Day. In 1962, John Foncha, who was now the Vice President of Cameroon, had a speech where he cancelled the celebration of our National Day. Our National Day was the Southern Cameroon Day. And John Foncha, not La République du Cameroun, we may say that he was influenced by La République or not, but he was responsible. He gave the order, release this document to cancel our Southern Cameroon Day henceforth. And this is his speech. I'm going to read part of the speech so that you hear. John Foncha said, the 26th October, which marked the separation of Cameroon from East Nigeria region, was celebrated as a partial national day because we were still under trusteeship rule. Its celebration gave us the impetus to regain a wider nationhood and was the beginning of our independence. So you could hear Foncha talking about the period where we were quasi-region, not as being independent, but as still being under the trusteeship rule. I say this because you have some people who are not very well educated about this subject, like Chris Anu have said that we were independent country when we had autonomy. No. So we were under the British trusteeship system, as you can hear. So this was the speech John Foncha gave to change our National Day or Southern Cameroon Day on the 26th of October that celebrate our separation from Nigeria. It was changed into a national day by John Foncha, who was then the Vice President of Cameroon. And that was the speech he said. And the document, the historic document where this archive came from, says that the West Cameroon leadership, that means they had a meeting, the West Cameroon leadership decided to transform a national day into a youth day. So from 1962, it was now to 1963, the National Day of Southern Cameroon was now celebrated as a youth day. So you have October 26, Southern Cameroon National Day was changed and it was now celebrated as a youth day without a National Guard in presence. So the date was changed by John Foncha. And in 1963, the Secretary of State of Education and Social Welfare, who was S.M. Ndamukong, at that time, he made this speech that further made the transformation of that day. 1963, Honorable Ndamukong, he said, this is his speech, I'm going to read the speech. Youth Day So they was celebrating 11th February still in 1963 as a plebiscite day. But in 1963, after the celebration, the Secretary of Social Welfare and Education, Mr. Ndamukong, he made a speech that transformed the plebiscite day, which was 11th February. Remember that Jongu Foncha only changed the Southern Cameroon Day into Youth Day. But in 1963, Honorable Ndamukong changed our plebiscite day, 11th February, into the Youth Day. And this is a speech. I will read the speech. He says, Youth Day is now 11th February each year. School sports normally held on the 26th of October will be held on the 11th of February. Teachers and pupils should therefore note that 11th February 1964 is the date on which youth sport will take place. On October 1, Reunification Day will be a public holiday for March Pass. So this document is signed by Honorable Ndamukong, who was the Secretary of Education and Social Welfare in the Southern Cameroon government. At that time, Southern Cameroon was now West Cameroon. We have a functioning government that represents our people, and we have our Prime Minister, who was now the Vice President of La République du Cameroun. So this is what happened. The change of 11 February from a national day, from a plebiscite day to a youth day was not changed by La République du Cameroun, but our own Southern Cameroon or West Cameroon government. The leadership changed it, and a Secretary of State did make that changes. This is very important for us to know the truth, to know the fact. Not just that we conform with international law, but also that we can have a proper voice, because only the truth shall set us free. If we don't know the truth, we don't speak the truth, we can't be set free. Some radicals within our struggle that have taken advantage of this movement of our people looking for their freedom have completely destroyed our narrative by injecting falsehood that have no reference in history. So this is part of us restoring the truth and make sure that we can fight for our people in a way that is going to bear fruit. In 1963, when Mr. Ndamukong has changed the plebiscite day into a youth day, the next year, Jongu Foncha came to participate in celebration because he had moved to Yaoundé when he was made the vice president. And this is what he said in 1964 when they made the first celebration of 11 February, not as a plebiscite day, but as a youth day. Jongu Foncha speak, I quote him, "The idea of a youth day to children on 11 February means to feast, while for grown up, 11 February Youth Day was a day a majority of the people of West Cameroon made history by almost unanimously, honestly, voluntarily decides to achieve independence and reunification with former French Cameroon." So this is our Prime Minister, our representative, calling La République du Cameroun as former French Cameroon. That is why sometimes we also call our Southern Cameroon as former Southern Cameroon. We must know the fact. There are some these illiterates like this hermaphrodite guy, this Bobby boy, who continues to disturb our people, but you have to know the fact. Southern Cameroon is considered former, just like French Cameroon is considered former under United Nations and under the African Union Charter. And the new country that was created cannot be considered French Cameroon or English Cameroon. Such consideration and attempts to consider it as such is illegal, even by the regime it plays. So for us to have good standing and be able to make a case for our people that can bear fruit and that can be heard, we must be in accordance and in conformity with the law. That is why many petitions that have been sent by our people to the international communities have just simply been ignored or not taken seriously because it is not in conformity with international law. We have come far for 7 years now, and we have had time to study, engage the international community to find out what is really the problem, that they don't hear our plea each time we communicate with them. And we have an obligation as leadership, as organization representing the best interest of our people, to do the right thing and to do history justice. So this is Jongu Foncha talking about reunification. The word he is using is reunification. That means he is even affirming the fact that the two Cameroon was once one country under the Germans, which was just the truth. But we had separated as two different units. But this narrative of Jongo Foncha reinforces some of those narratives that have been taken advantage also by the Bulu Beti clique that are ruling La Republic and putting everybody else under oppression. We know Cameroon is not really free, so we know what is going on in that country. So after 1964, when Jongo Foncha attended the Youth Day, in 11 February, which was the first Youth Day, and first time 11 February was celebrated as a youth Day. This celebration was not done in all of Cameroon. It was done only on our own West Cameroon, our own Anglophone Cameroon, our own Ambazonia. So during the first time 11 February was celebrated as a Youth Day, it was presided over by Jongu Foncha, the Vice President of Cameroon. And it was not just one day celebration, it was a huge celebration. The celebration, which was exclusive to our region, started on the 9th. It means you have 3 days celebration. On the 9th, they had a big Thanksgiving Mass that was offered by the Bishop of West Cameroon. So the whole of West Cameroon as one had one bishop. The bishop offered a Mass on West Cameroon, and that had reinforced the Catholic influence over our territory, which was previously dominated by Baptists from the Afriseka region, from the Afriseka period. So you had the Catholic Church playing a prominent role, having the opportunity to give a Thanksgiving Mass with attendance with all dignitaries. The next day, the celebration on the 10th is done in Victoria. That means only one place where all our dignitaries travel to that particular place to celebrate 11 February. That will be on the 10th. On the 10th, they will have a huge race that is done in Victoria, in front of Victoria. You know, Victoria is a very significant historic city. That is, they had a canoe race. They invited the Sultan of Fumban. You remember the Sultan of Fumban, together with the chief of Bafut, had written a letter to the British people to come and colonize us before the German came. So we have a very strong link to the Fumban people and all the Bantu people in that area. These are just a fact. So in that first 11 February celebration in 1964, the Sultan of Fumban was invited. It was a huge celebration in Victoria with all our dignitaries that attended it. Then in 11 February itself, they had only 2 centers of celebration. It was celebrated now. They will move not from Victoria and they'll go to celebrate it in Boya and in Bamenda. So only 2 places were celebrated. Boya and Bamenda were the center place where 11 February National Youth Day was celebrated only in West Cameroon in 1964. The celebration ended with a huge reception that took place in the Prime Minister Lodge in Boya. They had over 500 guests from people of West Cameroon government and the people of our own territory. It was very, very fantastic. And in 1967, that is when Amadou Ahidjo, seeing this huge, magnificent celebration of pride and nationhood by our people, decided to declare 11 February Youth Day as a national day that was being celebrated now across both the West Cameroon and East Cameroon, which is Francophone Cameroon. So our people should know very well the origin of this day. It wasn't a day that was imposed by us by La Republique. It was a day that originated from us, celebrated our heritage, and celebrated the decision of self-determination we made to join French Cameroon. And for those who think that we did not join, ask yourself that the Vice President of Cameroon, Jongu Foncha, was there as who? Jongu Foncha, in his speech in 1963, talking about referring to Southern Cameroon Youth Day, stated that it was a day that celebrates what has been achieved in terms of reunification. What did he mean? So we had united with Cameroon through constitutional union, not necessarily the Union Treaty, as many of us we had been pushing forth after being influenced by very radical people. We must know the truth. This truth is not defending La Republique as this hermaphrodite guy will come and say Capo Daniel is defending La Republique. No, It is us taking responsibility so that we can make progress. Without taking responsibility of your own mistake, you cannot be in a position where you can make right decision for your people to move forward. These decisions that were made by Jongu Foncha and the leadership of West Cameroon had very damaging impact on our life, and we are suffering the consequences. We cannot survive in this war or progress just by blaming La République du Cameroon. La République du Cameroon is definitely taking advantage of our weakness and the failures we made. These decisions that were made by the leadership of West Cameroon was not made due to patriotism or looking out for our people. It was because Jongu Foncha, their propagandists and their statement, if you read from newspaper except during that period, were more concerned about their infighting with Endele, and they were thinking that the national day that was put in place by Endele in 26th of October was a heritage from Endele. It was Endele's thing. So they were trying to destroy it, not knowing that they are destroying our entire country. And today we still face the same challenges. Ambazonia think that they want to destroy each other when actually they are destroying the struggle. Look at what Cristiano and Sako did, killing other soldiers in Levialem thinking they are going to become powerful. But you don't know you are helping the enemy to achieve their goal. So fellow Ambazonian, that is what happened on 11 February, and that is the meaning of 11 February.